Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid.
Welcome back to our daily show. It's 10:41 and a little bit of change on this 20th day of July. It's a Thursday in downtown Alton. Coach Greg Nasello in studio. How's the summer season going?
So far, so good. You know, it's summer. It makes it nice. Not a lot of pressure. Just enjoying and getting to know the players that I'm going to have. But it's all been going really well to this point.
Really? Everyone playing well too?
You know what? I don't want to say playing well or playing bad because I'm just getting to know these guys. So I'm going to tell you this: their attitude's wonderful. Their effort has been just unbelievable. It's been fun, and we've been training Tuesday, Thursday. We got training tonight. We're using as many contact days as we can, and then Sunday league, and that's been going very well as well.
That's what I was going to ask you about is the Sunday league, because this wasn't around whenever I was playing.
You know what? I don't remember it. I can tell you this. I think when I first coached, there might have been something that was done down in Belleville area, but nothing around here. Last year when I was coaching at Marquette is when I first got exposed to it. I think it's fantastic, and I would give anything to be able to have had this league for us because we've got a great facility for it. But I'm going to tell you this: Roxana's done a great job of hosting it. We play every Sunday night, and there's games and they're 25-minute halves, so not a long game, but good enough time to see everybody play.
Get reps.
99, so you're getting a lot of touches on the ball. No, it's been fantastic.
And now, where is that hosted? In Roxana?
In Roxana at their high school. Oh, their facility. Last year was the first time I had been on it.
Yeah, I've never been.
I was with Marquette, and it's really nice. They've done a really good job with that.
So whenever you're taking over a new team, because you've done this a little bit now, what's the couple of first months look like?
Well, you know, you've got to get organized. There's two things you have to do right away. Number one, you have to put together a good coaching staff. And I think I've been able to do that. That's number one, because you're going to rely on those guys to take care of things.
Who are your coaches?
Go back to Kurt Atkinson.
Good old Kurt.
Because when that happened, I called him right away, and he was willing to jump on board. Dustin Cowan is another one. Who's coached me with the Irish for the last couple of years. Really good coach, and also great at organization, which is a big plus. Toby Hennessy, who played for me years ago, and he is coaching now currently with Scott Gallagher. He was an Irish coach at one time.
Will he be a freshman, JB?
Well, right now I don't do freshman JB.
Just
we
coach.
are the coaching staff, and we'll figure out as we go. I don't want to put those when you start pigeonholing somebody saying you're this coach. Well, they may be for this time, but we're going to work with certain guys. I need each of them to use their best tactic, their best ability with certain guys. And I don't want to say you're the freshman coach and then, not be able to use him for anybody else. So
I get what you're saying, because you back into a corner then almost.
Yeah, exactly. And that comes from coaching with other good coaches that taught me that's a good way to go. So, and I try to do that. But Toby's, he's coming on staff. He's going to be really good. With that, we've had a volunteer assistant coach, Mike Halliday, who's with the middle school program, and that's been a real good help in making that adjustment.
They're full in that middle school program. I will say that.
That's for sure. And to make that transition, that's a big plus. We've been fortunate to have Joel Cowan helping us with the goalkeepers this summer. Now, that's a big plus, because you've got to have a goalkeeper coach if you want to be a good team. That's one of those priorities. It's just like being in a football team. You've got to have somebody that has to work with special players, kickers, punters, quarterbacks. Same thing here. You've got to have somebody that can work with the goalkeepers, and we've had that ability with Joel.
So what's your training sessions look like right now?
Well, right now what we do is we start off at Alton High lifting weights. I'm big about lifting. Now, we don't do lifting like football players. We lift more for core, trying to do those kind of things. There's 7 exercises we are mandatory they have to do. There's others they can do, but it just depends on the time. If there's time, we will also do some video sessions. I record. We have the Huddle account. So Alton, they've done some great things with facilities. And
they really have.
It's amazing. And with that Huddle account, I videotape. That's how old I am. Use the digital recordings. I got to remember what we're doing here. And we record all of our sessions. We go through them. I'm able to go through and see some things in there, do some drawings. We send it out to the players to look at, but then, time permitting, we go over that before we go to training, kind of build on what we did prior. Then we move to West, and from basically 6:45 to 8:15, we'll train for that hour, an hour and a half.
Wow. Well, and too, because I was talking to a couple of the old players that, from your first stint with the team and talking about the old Rock Spring days and, everything else. Now, are you still running hills with the guys?
No.
I had to ask.
No, my days of running are pretty much done. My knees, the artificial hip, the knees, none of that's really working as well. But no, and it's weird because I've, just like teaching, my evolution as a coach is totally different. I mean, in the old days, we used to just run. Mm-hmm. I don't run at all anymore. I do everything involved in our training sessions. And these guys, when they come out, they're exhausted. And that's how it should be, because now they're getting game fitness rather than, you can be physically fit, but that's not going to allow you to run for 80 minutes at a soccer game.
Well, it's the intervals too.
That's it.
Yeah.
You've got to go from sprinting to walking to jogging, and you've got to stay mentally engaged the whole time. So you don't do that when you're just running. Mm-hmm. Mental engagement to me is the key. To keep them doing that, you've got to be doing exercises that task them to do both. That's going to do both mental and physical, and we've been able to do that so far.
So speaking of a varsity squad, because, for folks that don't realize, 3A for Illinois is about as high up as you can go for soccer. Yeah. What's it take to be a varsity player at that level that's successful?
Well, to be successful, that's the key word. I mean, you can be a varsity player, but to be a successful player, number one, you have to have total commitment to doing it year round. And I don't necessarily mean playing year round on a club team. That would help, but you've got to be willing to commit with the ball. You've got to touch it every day. I tell these guys, you've got to be, it's not just when we're out here training 2 days a week. You've got to be doing this every day. When we're not training, I send them out a fitness guide that they can do to do some things on their own. Mm-hmm. Take what we've been teaching you in training, go out and work on it, but you're going to have to commit to that ball for 12 months a year. That's the only way you can get better. Then you got to do the physical part, because this is high school, and in 3A, the physicality is a lot different than what I saw even at Marquette. We had occasional games where we would play some really strong 3A teams, and we were physical with them. We could battle with them. But when you're playing 3A every day, and you're playing Granite City, you're playing Collinsville, you're playing Edwardsville, you're playing O'Fallon, and you're playing them twice. Right. You've got to be ready for the physical part of this game, and that's where weightlifting comes in. You got to hit the gym.
Now, what do you think about, just the way that it's transitioned the last couple of years with Irish being in town with the club? Because, it seems like for a while, a lot of the local area schools, a lot of players played for 6 months during high school. They didn't have the Scott Gallagher luxury to drive to Collinsville. With this, does it have that opportunity to give, players more of an opportunity touch?
There's no doubt. That's helped a ton.
Really?
I go back to when I first started. We had the Alton United, and then it kind of went away, and
that's
we
right.
had nothing. And when you have nothing and there's nothing to build on, now we did have some players that were good enough to make Scott Gallagher, but that was all we had.
Right.
So now we didn't have anything. So we're trying to come up with ways to keep these players involved. It didn't go very well. So now with the Irish, Robert Steffen's done a great job of putting that club together. It's been fantastic for not just Alton High, but for all the area high schools.
Really has.
I mean, you see it. It feeds. I mean, for me coaching that, which I unfortunately can't do anymore, but I love doing it. But I was working with those high school kids, and we had guys from Alton High, Marquette, of course. But then you go down to Civic Memorial, Jerseyville, Southwestern.
Hell, Mississippi Valley.
Yeah, we actually had a player from them too. Yes, you're absolutely right. And so to do that, I mean, that's a big plus. The other thing too I like about it is they're seeing different coaches, and you need different voices throughout your career, different things to excite you, to different ways of doing things. You get kind of stale doing the same thing over and over, so that's a big plus.
Well, and too, on top of that, I wanted to circle back to your playing days, because you learned from a lot of really interesting folks. One being up in whenever you're up in Oakland and you had the opportunity. Sarge, what was his name?
Steve Sargent. I've been lucky to have some great coaches when I played. Starting with Ed Hunnicky.
Absolutely.
People forget how good he was at Lewis and Clark. I mean, we played in a national title game. We finished third the next year. He goes to SIU, and he makes it to the Division II championships with that group. Then up at Oakland, I had Gary Parsons, our head coach, and then Steve Sargent was our assistant, who played at Everton. It wasn't English Premier then, it was English First Division, but he was a phenomenal coach, and he taught you how to defend. he was voted the third dirtiest player in the NASL, so I still remember that to this day.
Well, do you
Fantastic
ever,
coach.
because soccer evolves and your coaching does, teaching does, do you ever go back and think about some of the things you were told or learned about and maybe adapt that process a
Constantly.
little bit? Really?
Always. You can't go forward without going back. I always circle around to everything I do. As a matter of fact, this morning I'm putting together my training session for tonight, which I email it to all my coaches before they've got it already, so they know what we're going to do. I'm looking at old things that I've done, and some of these things I keep on the computer. I mean, they go back 15, 20 years.
Wow.
You know, and then when things aren't going well, I really look back and think, what did I do? What, you know, when this situation happened, what did we do to fix it? So I constantly go back. To me, you cannot go forward without thinking about those old times. I don't do it the same way, that's for sure.
Right.
You know, the evolution is there. The things, they're altered. And just like the training tonight, we're going to start this way. If it's not working, we're going to tweak it as we go to make it work better.
Absolutely.
And you have to have a good coaching staff to do that.
Well, that's true.
And that's where I'm lucky.
Well, you're right. And on top of that, too, when you were first, at Alton High, it seems like now the athletic association and all these supporters, I mean, it's night and day different.
It's not just there. I mean, you go to the school. Look at the facilities we have.
Well, I haven't been.
And that's come from the people that are running the school system. They've done a fantastic job. I mean, you look at what West is now with that turf.
Get out of here.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I coached last year at Marquette. For the boys and girls, and I absolutely loved it. And Brian Hayner, I've learned a ton from him. But one of the things, we were at Gordon Moore every day. Beautiful facility, but it's hard. And my knees, by the end, I'm going to tell you, after a year of that, my knees were killing me. Well, I'm out West every day. It's just totally different.
Walking on a mattress out there.
I mean, it's really good facility. And then you go to our own field that we have up above on the grass field that Piasaw Fuels put together. They, great job for them helping out with the, the high school. And it's fantastic. And I'd love to be on it more because it's grass.
Right.
But you got to worry about tearing it up and burning it out. We want it for the season. So, you got to just weigh those things. But, yeah, we're really fortunate.
Do you ever worry about that with transitioning from turf to grass in games?
I think back 5 years ago, I would have said yes. Now, I don't.
Really?
Because now, with our guys, the turf part is what we practice on most.
Okay.
And, when we need to use the grass field, we will get on there and train. We just don't want to use it now. There's no point. Why am I going to burn out that grass?
Right, because you got a season ahead.
Need it. That's exactly right. Our first game is going to be on that grass on August 27th when we play Duchesne. So we're going to get ready to go. Yeah, so they're in our tournament this year. So yeah, we start the year with the Alton tournament, and that's going to be exciting. So, and don't ask me more games than that, because I only focus on the first game, and that's what I told the guys. I don't look at the season, the whole season. I'm looking at the first game.
And that's what I was going to ask you when you talk to your players about this, because the season's a marathon.
Yeah.
It happens.
Not a sprint.
No,
you better believe it.
And then it seems like by the end of it, I don't know how schedules were, but when I was done playing high school, it seemed like that last month was just a nightmare. You had one day off, or maybe two, and then you were playing
and
again.
That's kind of the same thing now. We've got. I still think high school plays way too many games.
Do you really?
I do. I think you should be looking at no more than 2 a week, maybe 3.
Well, because guys get hurt.
Well, and it's not just that. The downside of playing on turf is that it beats up your body, even as good as the turf is at Alton High.
Right.
And it's fantastic. It takes a toll. And when we've got a situation, we're going to have 5 games in 8 days this year. That's way too many. But, that's just the way the schedule broke down. So that's something we're going to look to try to maybe alter in the future. But right now, you just got to take what you got. And we've tried to fit in some off days. And I mean, truly off days where, guys, we're not going light. We're just not practicing.
Don't check team snap. We aren't going to be here.
We're not going to be here. That's exactly right.
Wow.
We're taking that time off because you've got to have that time to recover.
And now with that, you're always very big in academics, too.
Yeah.
And whenever we're talking varsity, I think that some people forget about that academic component, where if you aren't performing well in school, there's going to be a different conversation. Is that part of your mindset too?
Always, especially with soccer. I mean, I'm saying soccer. I don't call it soccer. I call it football.
Right.
I do. The players get on me all the time. No, it's football because that's what I look at.
Right.
It is. I played so many sports. And the thing about soccer, football, is that it's the only sport where the player has to do everything for himself. Looking at the bench is irrelevant because by the time the coach tells you, it's already passed and done.
You're right.
So, when you look at a true football game, you go in a huddle, you pick a play, you go run the play. If it's basketball, the coach is calling the plays, you go down the field. Even in baseball, the third base coach is going to tell you what to do. I can't do that in soccer. So you've got to be a free thinker. Because of that, you have to be intelligent. And that's why the best soccer players are also really good students. Now, some of them can be a little bit lazy in the classroom because of that. They're intelligent, but they don't get pushed in the same way they get pushed on the athletic field. That's where teachers, that's where the teaching component comes in. I know as a teacher, that's what I try to do is to push people to be better students in the same way I do a soccer team. But the academics has got to be there, because if you can't be that intelligent in the classroom, you're not going to be that intelligent on the field.
Right.
And it will show. And that's one of the things I always focus on.
It's a great segue, because I like talking about joystick and players, because I think that sometimes, I get so fed up with hearing a coach scream for 90 minutes. I think it's the most ridiculous thing, because you're not getting your players to be better players. You're just telling them how to listen to you. What do you think on that?
Well, it's not just there. It's training too.
Really?
I've training has evolved so much for me, because I still do some things like some patterns and that to get the idea across. But if you look in the old days, we used to have everything was cone related, A to B to C to D, and that's joysticking.
You're right.
I mean, you're going to go to here, turn right, go here, turn left. That's not the game.
Yeah.
So now I don't even call them drills. I call them exercises, because we're going to go and work in this third of the field, and this is what we're going to try to do. We're going to go 7v5 with 2 support players, and we're going to try to build first from the left side to the right to the left. Whatever we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
But to get away from that, because if I've got to tell you what to do every moment, well, I can't.
Right.
I just can't do that, because it'll, by the time it goes from one ear and process in the brain, it's already done. So the players have got to learn to think for themselves, and that's what I try to instill in training, and of course carry on to the game.
Absolutely. Now we have a couple minutes left. What's the team looking like? Do you have a lot of upperclassmen, or how is it looking?
We've got right now. I don't know the total numbers, because this summer we got guys coming and going.
Yeah.
But we've had some great seniors right now that have come out. I look at some of the guys like Logan Reinders has come out and been out there every day. The same thing with Alex Steiner, and then we just have one after another. Cameron Belchick. Now Jared Tall's come out recently. Miles has been there a lot. So we've got all these guys there, and they're just great leaders, and they're working so hard. And that's the big part. I told them, I said, you guys have got to be leading by example, not by voice.
Exactly.
Get out here and show them, here, I'm going to work this hard. And when you do that, everybody will follow. And we've got a really nice junior class, which is a big plus. These are most of the guys that played for me when I was coaching the Irish. So I knew them going in, and I knew how well they worked. It's just been a great surprise just seeing how well all these guys are melding together at this point.
Well, I never point a player, but watching last year, there was one that I thought has the potential to be one of the best strikers in the area, and that's Dylan. I think the way he turns off the ball is something that's pretty special.
He's got a good first step, and he's really working on his finishing. Yeah.
And then the only reason I asked that is because we did have a couple of questions earlier about the team. Do you know where spots rise we're going to play yet?
We're starting to look for that now, but you know what? I don't want to. Even in the course of the season, the team's going to evolve.
What has to?
I'm not going to, like I told him, I said, guys, if we're going to be their best the first day, that's not what I want. I want to, start off and have a good game against Hashem, but I want our best day to be the last day.
Yeah.
Because, that should be a state championship if everything goes well.
Right.
But, we've got to build to that. And part of that is coaching, is you got to be willing to evolve the team. And if it's not going well, you got to be able to move guys around. The summer leagues allowed us to do that. So we've been able to move guys and just get good looks at them in different roles, and it's been very good.
Well, and see, that's why I really like the idea of the summer league, because it's 25.
Never had that before. To where you had time to look at players playing. Not standing around.
Now, does it help too with the, just with talking with the other coaches too and having everybody out there, or with
networking? It's funny because you don't get a chance to do that so much, because the games are literally one on top of the other. So it's literally saying hi.
Who refs?
We've young guys that are helping out. Some guys that have played last year.
Wow.
They're going to college now. and the refereeing's irrelevant, because we're not out there blading people and hitting. It's more like playing 7-on-7 football, where you're doing the techniques. And doing that, and everybody knows what it's about. And the good thing is that Coach from Roxana did a good job of talking the first day to everybody about what this league's about. And that's what I've been telling our players. Look, we're not out here to try to come out and knock people around. That's not what it's about. It's working the ball. Let's see if we're doing the things skill wise that are going to get us to that level.
And without a doubt, I got a couple seconds left. When are tryouts?
First, I don't know if we really want to call them tryouts, because I don't know how many players we're going to have.
Right.
But I always say our first training session will be at 6 p.m. on August 7th, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
It's coming up quick. Yeah. And then what's the goal for the year? Is it to win the title?
Well, it's always to win state title, but you know what? You have to have small goals along the way. As a team, we'll talk about goals as we go. I truly believe in both short-term and long-term goals, so we'll have those.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dad. We're out of time today. We're going to be talking to someone Coach Brian Hayner tomorrow. We're going to get an update on the Explorers season ahead of the fall. And on that note, all of you have a great rest of your Thursday. But most importantly, just do me a favor, come back tomorrow and try your best to stay out of jail.